Okay, so that's our presentation. Now we have time to answer any questions you may have. So we'll take turns now answering the questions that we received so far. Okay, first question says, do I apply first to determine how much credit I have and how much credit I would need? So yes, as we mentioned, we wouldn't be able to review any transcripts ahead of time. You would have to apply. So once you apply, you want to mail in your sealed transcripts along with your application. A technician will let you know how much credit they are able to give you. The next question, Fode, is, it says a maximum of 36 educational credits. What is the minimum? What's the minimum they can get? The max is going to be 36 months, but what's the minimum they could get?
And the minimum would be, like we said, if there is like individual classes, we have to look at in there to see how much credit we can give. If they are not related in any way, it could be 0, could be 1 month. So, if there is no degree there, then it could be nothing.
Right, could be 0. So there is a range, anywhere from 0 to 36 months. When is the next exam? So we do test every day. We mentioned we have 7 test centers throughout the state. So you will be assigned the one that's closest to you based on your zip code. And so we are testing. Well, they're open and we test every day. If I get a license, it says, if I get a license as a sole proprietor, can I eventually change it or if I convert my business to a corporation or an LLC, or would I have to apply for a new license?
If you get your sole owner license and then later on wants to convert it to a corporation or LLC, once you register the corporation LLC, you submit application for original contractor license examination waiver 7065, and then request. There is a page on the last page that you can request to reissue your sole owner license to the corporation or LLC.
So if someone worked in a landscaping business with the owner, would they be considered journeyman or fellow employee or employer? Okay, so the CSLB considers journeyman when you are able to complete a project from beginning to end with no supervision. So if you feel that you are capable enough and somebody is willing to sign off saying that you would be able to work without any supervision, and you have for at least 4 years, that would count as journeyman level experience. How do I apply for a C46? So the process that we discussed today is good for all of our classifications. So you can go back and review the presentation, but it is exactly the same regardless of which classification you are applying for. Okay, Fode says, how much credit for a BA of architecture?
Well, we cannot, like individually, we not try to in this, forum to individually say how much of, credit you get. Depends on classification of those information. So please submit your application with a copy of your transcripts, and we will let you know how much you will get.
Right. Do you need a certification or a license to become an HIS? No, you would just need to register with us. An HIS, as we discussed, is a home improvement salesperson. So if you are being hired by a company, a licensed contractor to be an HIS, you would just need to register yourself as an HIS. And you can find that application on our website. Is there a specific license or specialty category to apply for window washing? So what about window washing?
Again, I recommend all those questions regarding the classifications and the trades related to them would be referred to classifications, that's plural, at cslb.ca.gov. That classifications at cslb.ca.gov. We'll be happy to answer your questions there.
And also you can refer to our description of classification booklet that we mentioned too, and we provided a link during our presentation. We have a booklet that gives you a description for every single classification that we provide. So you would be able to read what kind of jobs, what kind of duties you can perform based on the classification. So you might want to check that out as well, and you can also send that email. If I am licensed, if I have a helper working with me, does he also need a license? So if you're licensed and your helper is, we would consider that an employee, they have to be your employee, they would not need a license. If you're, let's say you're licensed and in the appropriate classification, and you want to sub some work out to a helper, then you would have a subcontractor. Yes, that person would have to have a license. But if it's somebody who is helping you for the day, then that we would consider, CSLB considers that person your employee. So you want to make sure you have workers' comp coverage for that person. But no, they're under your supervision, so they would not need a license. I am an out-of-state applicant. Are the testing centers only in California, or can I use a PS1 in my home state? So if he's applying out of state, does he have to come to California to take the test vote?
Yes, currently our test centers in California.
What kind of license do I need to get if I provide interior painting ceramic tiles? So again, we mentioned about the classification booklet. You're going to want to refer to that. C33 is our painting contractor license. So you might want to check out the C33, see if that applies. But again, like Fode mentioned, if you have, after reading the description, you still are not sure or you have questions, we do have a classification deputy that you can email. And as Fode mentioned, their email address is classifications with an S at cslb.ca.gov. And what you're going to want to do is just provide them a little information about what type of work you're going to be doing, what is going to be the scope of your contract, and then they will let you know what the appropriate classification would be. I am an out-of-state applicant. Yes, so we already answered that one. I have 2 year experience. I have 2 years of experience and 2 in metal stud framing, my current trade. I want to get licensed in concrete. Do I have to switch trades? So in order to get a concrete license, you would have to show that you have 4 years of experience in concrete within the last 10 years. So yes, you would have to show 4 years of journeyman level experience in concrete. My boss only paid me in cash, and I did not start filing taxes until last year. How else can I demonstrate my work experience if I get asked to? So cash paid, Fode, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, please submit the application. We will contact your certifier, or we may require other folks who have observed you do the work. We may interview them and go from there. So please submit the application. We work through it.
Right. It's very common that people do receive cash pay. We know that happens. Or, if you were self-employed and your clients paid you in cash, it might be difficult, but it isn't impossible. So like Fode said, we do encourage you to continue to submit your application. You can refer back to the documentation that we accept. We talked about, we have a handout. You can either see it in our application, in our workshop here that we presented today, or it's also available on our website. And it's a list of what kind of documentation we would accept from you in order, if you were selected, if we requested it from you, okay? Does international work experience at construction site count? So as long as we would consider international work experience, but we would need to be able to verify it. You have to have somebody who is willing to fill out a work experience certificate. The same rule applies, 4 years within the last 10 years, and it would have to be verifiable. We would have to be able to talk to that person to verify the information they are providing. Is there a fee associated with the HIS association? If so, what is the fee to register as an HIS? Fode, do you know what the fee is to register as an HIS?
Getting the certificate HIS, that's a $83 application to get the registration. But associating an HIS, home improvement salesperson, to a license currently, that does not have any fee attached to it.
So $83 to register as a HIS.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not familiar with bonds. Does this mean I have to pay $15,000 after I pass my exam? Very good question. So a bond works like a car insurance. You don't have to have $15,000. You don't have to pay $15,000. It's just you would go to a bond company of your choosing, and the limit that we require is $15,000, just like your car insurance. So they will give you a premium, a monthly premium or an annual premium. They'll tell you how much you have to pay in order to provide that coverage for you. And it really is a protection for you, because the way the bond works, let's say that let's say a homeowner is not happy, a consumer is not happy with the work that was provided, and they claim that there was poor workmanship. Instead of coming after you, they can go to your bond company and file a complaint. And the bond company should send out their own inspector and determine if indeed, in fact, there was poor workmanship. If there wasn't, then they would deny the claim. But if there was, then they will pay out, a certain amount that they determine. And that way the consumer doesn't come after you, they don't sue you, they go through the bond company. So it is a protection for you. But like I said, it's not something that you have to have the $15,000. It's just the coverage amount that we require. So shop around and see, if you can get different prices on the bond. Next question. Do I need to obtain a license if I provide custom mural painting, usually for the interior of the building? Do they need to obtain a license if they provide custom mural painting?
Yes, that would be also the painting. But again, if you please send the details of what you do to classifications deputy, we will have a better answer for you. But that would require a C33 classification.
Do you have any recommended courses of study for the law portion of the exam, like in-class or virtual resources rather than just written material? So we are not associated with any of the classes. We do realize that there are companies that offer courses that they say they will help you pass the business and law exam. All CSLB offers is our study guide that we went over today. The resources on the back, that's all that we offer. Some companies, we've heard from applicants that some companies really do help them. Others we've heard that are very expensive will charge thousands of dollars, and not one of the questions that they covered was on the exam. So just so you know, we are constantly changing our exam questions. We have a large bank of exam questions. So just because you took an exam today, didn't pass, you come back in 3 weeks, it may not be the same questions. You may not see one of the questions that you had 3 weeks ago. So because we do constantly change out our questions. So no, it's not required that you go to a school, and no, we are not associated with any, so we wouldn't be able to recommend one over the other. Next question. How would self-employment experience qualify someone to apply for a license if the work was done without a license in the first place? So Fode, if they're self-employed, how can that help them get their license?
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of folks are still doing the work out there without the license. We understand that. And we are not, the application process is not to put that under the questions. It is just to verify their experience. And there is ways, even the folks who did the self-employed without the license, there are tax documents, and invoices and whatnot. So we understand that the work may not be done per the regulations, but again, as long as it has been under journey level, we can accept that.
So it looks like that's the last of our questions. So we want to thank you then for joining us. If you have any other questions about your application, we always encourage you to drop us an email to our licensing division. Their email is right there, licensing@cslb.ca.gov. Again, licensing at cslb.ca.gov. If at some point you need to reschedule your examination, you can get that process started by sending an email to exams@cslb.ca.gov. We've also put together a list of available resources for women considering a career in construction. If you haven't already, be sure to download this presentation to be able to see those resources. You can download the presentation using the green banner on the top of our homepage, www.cslb.ca.gov. If you're watching the archive video of our workshop on our YouTube page, you'll find a link to the presentation down below.
We welcome your comments or topics for future webcasts. Just drop us an email to social@cslb.ca.gov. A special thanks to our Licensing Division and Public Affairs Office for their help on this workshop. The Get Licensed to Bid workshop is a copyrighted production of the California Contractor State Licensing Board. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.